I am Caleb, and I thought I had my life neatly packaged in a little bow. 3 years deep with my fiancée, Elena, 25, female, and the poster child for graphic design students with dreams bigger than her student loans. We've been engaged for 8 months, living in my apartment because, naturally, I'm the one with an actual income while she focused on mastering the art of making Pinterest-worthy mood boards. Here's the kicker. I'd been secretly shopping for houses like some sort of romantic ninja. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a garage, you name it. The place was about 20 minutes outside the city. Perfect. My plan? Graduate Elena. Hand her the keys to our future and watch her face light up like she just discovered avocado toast for the first time. Down payment? Saved. Credit? Pristine. Job? Stable. Dream guy move? Locked and loaded. Of course, the apartment lease was in my name only. Because why would I want to split financial responsibility when I could do it all myself and get emotional labor points on top? I covered rent, utilities, groceries, car insurance. Basically, if it had a dollar sign, I paid it. Elena's contribution? The occasional coffee and a critique on how expensive life was. Real team player, that one. And then there's Grayson, my best friend, the human embodiment of sarcasm with a side of prophetic insight. Grayson thinks I'm nuts for carrying the whole financial load, but Grayson? He finds a humor in watching people dig their own graves, preferably with jazz hands. Tall, sarcastic, gifted at saying exactly what you're thinking, but 10 times funnier. He'd been my college roommate, and now my personal unpaid therapist. Grayson had opinions about Elena from day one, though he mostly kept them tucked behind a poker face. Little gems like, that's interesting, whenever she announced she couldn't cover rent that month, or, good for her, when she declared another girl's night that somehow required me to fund her Uber back. He even tried to warn me once, like 6 months ago, at a bar, because where else do life-changing truths get delivered? He leans over, pint in hand, and says, Bro, you know what's weird? Elena never talks about the future with you in it. Like, ever. It's always when I graduate or when I get my career going. Never when we do this or when we move there. And me? I didn't think much of it. Anyway, the engagement happened because, I thought that's what you do when you've been with someone for 3 years and it's time to level up. I mean, why not? 3 years of my time should be worth something, right? Yeah, famous last words. Elena said yes, of course. Posted it all over social media like she just discovered a new filter that could make her life perfect. Then she went full wedding mode, planning this elaborate thing that somehow got more expensive every time we talked. I figured we'd get married, move into the house I was secretly buying, and start building something real together. What I didn't figure out was that while I was building our future, she was building whatever she was building. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Here's the thing about being a logistics manager. You get really good at spotting when things don't add up. And the weird stuff started about 2 months ago. Elena, who used to be home by 8 most nights, suddenly had all these late-night study sessions. Group project with Amelia and Daisy, she'd say, grabbing her keys and this little overnight bag like she was headed to a covert academic expedition. Amelia and Daisy were her college friends. Amelia was the responsible one, actually seemed to study, and generally didn't cause heart palpitations. Daisy, though, well, Daisy was about as sharp as a bowling ball and twice as likely to roll into traffic. Sweet girl, don't get me wrong, but keeping secrets wasn't exactly her forte. And me? I was spoiling it. Literally, Mr. Logistics overhearing, noticing patterns. 3, sometimes 4 nights a week, Elena would vanish around 7, come home after midnight, and immediately hit the shower like clockwork. She claimed they were working on some major portfolio project, but whenever I asked for specifics, she got all vague and irritated. You wouldn't understand the creative process, she said one night, her tone dripping with polite version of, Caleb, you're boring. Fair enough, I said, except I've been dating an art student for 3 years and have sat through more portfolio reviews than I could count. I knew what real design work looked like, and spoiler alert, it didn't usually require midnight showers, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. Then came the phone situation. Elena's phone used to chill on the coffee table. Face up, all casual, no secrets. Suddenly, it was like a state secret. Face down, always on silent, and mysteriously attached to her, like it was an extra limb. Walk into the room while she's texting. Boom! Flip it over or minimize whatever sneaky thing she's looking at. Classic. But the real tell was the attitude shift. Elena went from occasionally moody to full-time dismissive. Hey, how was your day? I'd ask, trying to sound normal. Ugh, fine. She'd snap, like I'd just asked her to solve a differential equation in the middle of dinner. Want to do dinner tonight? I'd offer. I roll, like I was some clingy boyfriend interfering with her very important life. Then my inner logistics manager kicked in, and I started paying attention to Amelia's social media. Because if these study sessions were really happening 3 nights a week, there'd be proof. Coffee cups, exhausted selfies, something. But nope, Amelia's Instagram was basically, here's my cat and the Netflix show I'm binge-watching alone. Tuesday night. While Elena was supposedly elbow-deep in logo designs at Amelia's, Amelia posted a story about making dinner and watching rom-coms by herself. Wednesday, same thing. Apparently, Amelia had the place to herself every night. Either Amelia was the most dedicated liar on social media in history, or Elena's study sessions were happening somewhere else entirely. Then came the micro details. Elena would rattle off specifics. Logos for a fictional restaurant, branding packages from made-up companies, all very corporate sounding and impressive, if they were true. So I did a little casual recon. Coffee shop, Amelia. I bring up the projects. Oh, the restaurant branding. I say, yeah, you guys were collaborating on client work, right? Amelia blinks at me. No. We're doing personal portfolio pieces a semester, individual stuff. Oh, well, she mentioned some collaborative client work. I hedge. Amelia smiles politely, clearly trying to be diplomatic, but her confusion is obvious. Either Elena's entire description of their work was a spectacular fiction, or there wasn't any collaborative work happening at all. The coffee thing was another breadcrumb. And yes, in hindsight, it was a breadcrumb shaped like a suspiciously expensive latte. Elena started bringing home these fancy drinks from a place called Grind Coffee. Now, Grind Coffee was nowhere near campus or Amelia's apartment. Why are you going there? I asked one morning, watching her cradle a caramel macchiato like it was a holy grail. It's better for creative work. She said, all zen and artsy. We meet there now, right? Because apparently, a 20-minute detour across town is the optimum creative energy radius. I did a little detective work, aka I Googled it. Grind Coffee was in a completely different part of town. Nowhere near school, nowhere near Amelia, nowhere near logical thinking. Why drive 20 minutes out of your way for coffee? The atmosphere is better, less distracting, she said. Less distracting, unless you count dodging traffic and questioning every life choice that led to this moment. I decided to test this. The next day, during lunch break, I strolled into Grind Coffee like a man on a mission. Excuse me, I asked the barista, do you know a regular customer named Elena? I described her down to this slightly pretentious coffee order. The barista paused. Oh, blonde girl, yeah? She comes sometimes, but no, I haven't seen her with friends. Oh, cool, not suspicious at all. I called Grayson after that little field trip. Dude, I said, I've got latte intel, and it's not painting a clear picture. He didn't skip a beat. I'm not saying she's definitely cheating, he said, like a monk delivering ominous wisdom. But if it walks like a duck and showers like a duck, I don't want to be that guy who accuses his fiancée just because she's been acting weird. No, I said, I want to be the guy who finds out what's actually happening before I marry someone who might be playing house with multiple people. He chuckled. Exactly. Look, either she's actually working on the world's most time-consuming group project, or she's working on something else entirely. Either way, you deserve to know what you're dealing with. And that, my friends, is when the gaslighting started. A few days later, I asked Elena why she'd been coming home so late. Big mistake. Are you seriously questioning me right now? She snapped. What's next? You want to track my location? I'm just asking. I said, try and keep my tone calm, like a man negotiating with a slightly unhinged roommate. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You're being controlling. It's not attractive. Controlling? For asking my fiancée why she was out until midnight every night? That's rich. I wasn't trying to control anything. I was just trying to understand why my fiancée was treating me like a roommate she barely tolerated. God, you're so insecure, she continued, like she just unlocked a new achievement. Maybe if you trusted me instead of interrogating me every time I walked through the door, we'd have a better relationship. I shot back, and there it was, the magic word, carefully designed to shut down any reasonable questions. Insecure. But she wasn't done. Oh no, she had discovered that calling me insecure was apparently a superpower. Now, it became her default response to any question I asked. Why'd you spend so much on gas this week? You're being insecure about money again. Why'd you get home at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday? This insecurity thing is getting old, Caleb. Every legitimate concern I had about our relationship was now twisted into a character flaw on my part. She'd basically found a cheat code for avoiding accountability. The absolute worst was about a week before everything blew up. I'd had a long day at work and came home hoping to just hang out with my fiancée, maybe order takeout and watch something together. Normal couple stuff. Elena was getting ready to leave for another study session. I tried one last Hail Mary. Want to stay in tonight instead? I asked. We could order from that Thai place you like. She froze mid-jacket, like I just asked her to give up breathing. Seriously? You want me to blow off my education so you can feel better about yourself? I just want to spend time with you. Is that weird? It's needy, and honestly, it's embarrassing how insecure you get when I have my own life. Having your own life is great, I thought. Having a secret life? That's a little different, Elena. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I said, trying to keep it together. You think everything I do is some conspiracy against you? That's not healthy, Caleb. She grabbed her keys and overnight bag like a drill sergeant. I'm going to work on my portfolio with people who don't need constant validation. Maybe you should think about why you can't handle your fiancé being successful. And just like that, she left, turning a simple dinner request into a referendum on my character and her brilliance. I stopped asking questions after that, not because I believed her, but because I realized she had finally dug her own grave. Time to stop playing defense and start playing offense. And you know what's great about being the guy who pays all the bills? Access to all the bills, including the phone bill Elena never bothered to check because, hey, someone else was handling the boring financial stuff. 3 days after the insecure conversation, I'm the plan owner. I log in, pull up our phone records online, and what do I see? Elena's number has been calling one specific number almost every night for the past 6 weeks. Hours at a time, never during the day, always after 7 p.m., usually past midnight. Curious. I did a paid reverse lookup on the number. Name, rough address, and social media profile. The guy was 34, had his own apartment about 15 minutes from campus, and worked in marketing. Definitely not a student. Definitely not part of any group project, and definitely not Amelia or Daisy. His LinkedIn said he worked for some digital marketing firm downtown, and his Instagram? Well, let's just say it was a shrine to expensive restaurants, weekend trips, and his apartment. And here's the kicker. His kitchen had Grind Coffee branded mugs all over the place. Mystery solved. Elena wasn't driving 20 minutes out of her way for better creative vibes. No, she was driving 20 minutes to see this guy, and he'd been by her fancy coffee while I paid for, literally everything else in her life. Screenshots collected like trophies. I fired them off to Grayson. His response, immediate. Well, that's not awkward at all. Then Grayson hits me with another text. Wait, check this out. He'd reverse searched the guy's address and found something interesting. The apartment complex. Same one Elena had been window shopping 3 months ago, claiming she wanted backup options in case our lease didn't get renewed. She'd even dragged me there to look at floor plans. Guess she found exactly what she was looking for. Next, it was time for a little fun. See, if Elena was lying about studying with Amelia and Daisy, then Amelia and Daisy would know she was lying. The question was whether they'd tell me the truth or play along and keep their friend happy. I started with Amelia. Coffee shop on campus. Prime study spot. I sauntered over. Hey, quick question, I said, keeping my voice casual like I wasn't about to grill someone for crimes against caffeine. How's that portfolio project going? Elena's been putting in some serious hours on it. Amelia's face froze for about half a second, and then she did this weird little contortion of confusion, like she was trying to calculate the socially acceptable lie. Oh, yeah, it's coming along. Lots of work, I bet, she said, adding a nervous laugh. She's been out until midnight at least 3 times this week working on it with you guys, right? I pressed, keeping my tone annoyingly casual. Yeah, we're really dedicated. And the pause between really and dedicated was about 3 seconds too long. She was a terrible liar. Daisy, on the other hand, was, well, a piece of work. I tracked her down at the student center the next day, and unlike Amelia, she didn't even bother with subtlety. How's the group project going? I asked casual, but with the faintest edge of you're about to implode. What group project? The one Elena has been working on with you, and Amelia, the big portfolio thing. Daisy's face went through a full emotional roller coaster in about 3 seconds. Blank panic, then total resignation. Oh no, no. She told you we were working together? Real subtle, Daisy. This girl was basically a goldfish with ADHD trying to play chess. She said she's been studying with you guys 3 or 4 nights a week. Oh, well, I haven't seen Elena outside of class in like a month. Amelia, and I have been wondering why she. And then she just kept spilling. I mean, we invited her to movie night last Friday, and she said she was too busy with her portfolio. But Amelia saw her at a restaurant with... She trailed off, finally realizing she'd said too much. Wait, why are you telling me this? I asked. Yeah, I just asked the right person. Thanks, Daisy. Oh my God. She slapped her mouth like a cartoon character. See you around. There it was. Confirmation. My fiancée had been lying to my face for weeks while I paid her bills and planned our wedding. I walked back to my car. No sad cinematic music. No dramatic realization. Just pure, unfiltered rage that this woman had wasted 3 years of my life. I called Grayson from the parking lot. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly do I want to know what you found out? Remember when you said Daisy was a human megaphone? He said. Oh no, she slipped, didn't she? She didn't slip. She dove headfirst into the truth, Grayson replied. Elena hasn't been studying with them at all. And apparently, Amelia saw her at some restaurant with Guy last weekend. There was a pause on the phone. I'm sorry, man. That sucks. Yeah, it does. But whatever. Yes, screw them. What's the plan? I need to document everything I can before I make any moves. Smart. Evidence first, revenge later. Who said anything about revenge? Dude, I've known you since freshman year, and I'm pretty sure you ain't letting that slide. And yeah, he was right. Being methodical pays off when someone's trying to screw you over. The apartment lease was in my name only, which legally made Elena just a guest who'd been freeloading for 2 years. I spent the next week documenting everything. Photos of all my stuff, receipts for furniture, proof of purchase for electronics, bank statements, showing exactly who'd been footing the bills. I tracked every expense I covered for Elena over the past year. Rent, utilities, groceries, car insurance, gas money, coffee runs, dinners out. Basically, my entire life. The house purchase was already in motion, blissfully independent of all this drama. Mortgage approved, inspection clean. Closing schedule for the following Wednesday. Perfect timing. By Thursday, I'd have a new address Elena had never seen and never would. Grayson came over that weekend to help me figure out logistics. He walked through the apartment, making notes about what was mine, what was Elena's, and what we'd supposedly bought together. This is like the world's most depressing episode of Judge Judy, he said, snapping pictures of serial numbers on my electronics. I'm not trying to win anything. I just want out without getting screwed over. Right. But if you're getting out anyway, might as well make it memorable. That's when Grayson suggested the note. Your insecure fiancé moved out. Lease ends this month. Figured out. P.S. Daisy says hi. Elena would immediately know her story had crumbled because Daisy couldn't keep a secret. And knowing her, she'd probably blame Daisy instead of taking responsibility for her own choices. The plan was coming together beautifully. Wednesday, close on the house. Thursday, while Elena was off with her mystery man, I'd move everything out and leave her with an empty apartment, a lease ending, and the full consequences of her own actions. You realize she's going to lose her mind, right? Grayson asked as we finalized the plan. That's the point, I said with a grin. Wednesday's closing went off without a hitch. The house was everything I'd hoped for. And more importantly, it was mine. No shared anything, no complications. No one else's name on any paperwork. Just a clean, fresh start in a place that actually represented forward momentum instead of, well, whatever the past year had been. Thursday morning, I took a personal day from work and called the moving company. Time to execute. The beauty of dating someone predictable is that you always know where they'll be. Elena had another study session scheduled for Thursday night, meaning she'd be gone from 7 p.m. until well past midnight. Perfect window to relocate my entire life. I'd packed most of my personal stuff over the past few days, so it was mainly furniture, electronics, and boxes. Grayson showed up right behind them with coffee in hand, and this expression, like he was about to witness the world's most satisfying home renovation show. Gentlemen, he announced to the moving crew, today we are relocating a man's dignity. Please handle with care. I'd hire good movers, the kind who don't ask questions about why someone is moving out of their own apartment while leaving half the stuff behind. They just move boxes, load furniture, and collect their check. Watching my stuff disappear from the apartment was deliciously satisfying. The couch I'd bought, gone. The TV I'd saved for, gone. The bed I'd been sleeping on while my fiancée texted other guys, definitely gone. All of it heading to a house that represented an actual future instead of whatever weird game I'd been playing for the past year. Elena's stuff stayed exactly where it was. Her stuff, her problem. The closing packet and spreadsheet went on the kitchen counter, right next to the note. Grayson, never one to let an opportunity for theatrics pass, added a calculator. Right before we left, he stopped and went, "Hold up," disappeared into the bathroom, and came back holding Elena's expensive shampoo and conditioner, the kind that costs like $40 a bottle. "Consider a moving expense," he said, tossing it in his bag like a prize at a magic show. By 8 p.m., the apartment was empty of everything that mattered to me. The movers headed to the new house, and Grayson, and I did one final walkthrough to make sure we hadn't missed anything. You know what's weird? Grayson said, looking around the bare living room, "This place looks bigger without your stuff in it." That's because most of the furniture was mine. I reminded him the house was going to be something real. We locked up and headed to the new place. The movers were already unloading when we got there, and seeing my stuff in the new space felt like everything was falling into place. Bigger rooms, better light, a garage for my car, and a yard where I could actually do something other than stare at other apartment buildings. "This is nice," Grayson said, looking around the living room. "Like, really nice. She's going to hate that she'll never see it. That's not why I bought it. I know, but it's a nice bonus." We spent the next few hours getting the basics set up: bed, TV, coffee maker. Enough to be functional while I figure out the rest. The house felt different from the apartment immediately. More space, more potential, more like a place where someone could actually build something instead of just existing. Setting up the bedroom was surprisingly satisfying. New mattress, new sheets, everything fresh and completely mine. No shared closet space. No compromise on furniture placement. No one else's stuff cluttering up the space. Just my things in my house, arranged exactly how I wanted them. The kitchen was probably the biggest upgrade. Real counter space, a dishwasher that actually worked, enough room for 2 people to cook without bumping into each other. Not that I was planning on sharing it with Elena anytime soon, but someday, maybe with someone who actually deserved to see it. By midnight, I was officially moved into my new life. My phone had been on silent all evening because, honestly, who wants distractions while basking in their newfound freedom? When I finally checked it before bed, nothing. No missed calls, no text from Elena. She was still out, probably spinning some new story about where she'd been for the past 8 months. I set my alarm, plugged in my phone, and fell asleep in my new house. Tomorrow, Elena would come home to an empty apartment, and a note explaining why. Sure enough, my phone started buzzing at 6:47 a.m. 12 missed calls, all from Elena. Then the text started. What the hell? Where is everything? Call me right now. This is insane. I turned off the phone. Let her figure out the same way I had to figure out her lies. Alone. Around lunch. Grayson texted, "Did you see the nuclear fallout yet?" I turned the phone back on. 35 missed calls, dozens of texts, ranging from rage to confusion to what looked suspiciously like bargaining. The progression was almost textbook. She tried every strategy in real time. First, anger and demands. Call me now? This is insane. Then confusion and hurt feelings. I don't understand. Why would you do this? Then negotiation, like we were still dating. We need to talk like adults. I can explain everything. You're being childish. I never meant for this to happen. Finally, the truly desperate stuff. I know you're getting these messages. This is crazy. Caleb, you can't just leave. Please call me back so we can figure this out. I didn't call back. I finished work, hit the grocery store, and spent my first evening in the new house setting up my office, ordering furniture online. Around 8 p.m., I got a text from an unknown number. Hey man, this is Roman. I think we need to talk. Ah, the marketing guy. Apparently, he'd managed to dig up my number somehow. I didn't reply. Whatever he had to say could wait forever. Friday morning brought a new development. Elena showed up at my job. I work in a logistics center, which means there's a front office with customer service people in a secure area where the actual work happens. Somehow, Elena convinced someone at the front desk to call me because she had an emergency she needed to discuss. When I came out to the lobby, she was pacing like a caged animal, mascara smeared, wearing yesterday's clothes, the same one she left in for her study session last night. You can't just disappear, she shouted, loud enough for the entire lobby to hear. We're engaged. We live together. You can't just move out without talking to me. We live together, I corrected, calm as a Zen master, past tense. And we were engaged, also past tense. She looked like I just told her the sky was green. This is ridiculous. You're throwing away 3 years because of what? Some misunderstanding. I'm not throwing away anything. I'm just cleaning up a mess. That's when she really lost it. Crying, yelling, then crying while yelling. A full symphony of emotional chaos. Are you abandoning me? How can you be so heartless? You promised me a future. You can't just take it back. You left me with nothing. How am I supposed to pay rent? How am I supposed to eat? Figure it out, I said, calm as ever. The crying got louder. I can't believe you're being this cruel over some stupid fight about trust. You need to leave, I said serenely. No, I am not leaving before we make things right now. Sucks to suck. Elena, there's nothing to fix. Just leave now. Yelling won't get you anything. Caleb, please, just let's talk. Okay. I paused, letting the drama hang in the air like a fog. He means nothing to me. I love only you. I was just stressing about the wedding and wanted to. I'd held it together for weeks. Then I snapped. Shut the hell up. I don't want to hear one more word from you. Get the hell out of here. I'm done wasting time. The front desk called security, and I got to watch her get escorted out of my workplace while my co-workers pretended not to stare. She was still yelling as they walked her to the parking lot. You can't just throw people away when things get difficult. How cruel you are. My supervisor pulled me aside afterward. Is everything okay at home? It is, I said, cool as ever. Been there, brother. My ex-wife tried the same workplace ambush when I filed for divorce. Just keep documentation of everything, and if she shows up again, we'll handle it. Family pressure started that weekend. Apparently, Elena had called my parents, her parents, and several mutual friends with some version of the story where I'd abandoned her without warning because of my trust issues. My mom called Saturday morning. Honey, I just talked to Elena. She's really upset. She said you moved out while she was studying. She wasn't studying, Mom. What do you mean? I explained about the phone records, the lies about studying with Amelia and Daisy's confession. Mom went quiet for a long minute. Oh, well, that changes things. Yeah, it does. Are you okay? I'm great. Dad was more direct when he called an hour later. Your mother told me what happened. You did the right thing. Thanks, Dad. That girl always seemed a little too comfortable spending your money. I never said anything because you seemed happy, but I know I should have seen it sooner. It's all right. Cheaper than divorce. Don't beat yourself up about it. But the best call came from Elena's dad. This guy who'd been planning to walk his daughter down the aisle to marry me called to apologize. Son, I had no idea what she was doing. Her mother and I are mortified. We raised her better than this. Even her own parents were on my side. The friend group drama was the real entertainment, though. Grayson had connections to their social circle through Amelia, so he got the play-by-play of how everything imploded. Elena's first move was blaming Amelia for not being a convincing enough liar. Apparently, she called Amelia at 2 a.m., cry about how it was Amelia's fault she got caught. I found out Amelia, who'd been feeling like absolute crap about lying for months, finally told Elena, if you hadn't want to get caught cheating, maybe you shouldn't have been cheating. Then she hung up. Beautiful. Mic drop. So Elena pivoted naturally to blaming Daisy for ruining her relationship. Big mistake. Turns out Daisy didn't even know Elena was actually cheating. When Elena started screaming at her, Daisy just blinked and said, Wait, you were actually cheating. I thought you were just being weird about school stress. Oh my God, that's so much worse. No wonder he left. From there, it was pure chaos. Amelia took Daisy's side. Other friends picked sides. And within a week, their entire friend group had imploded. Amelia and Daisy stayed tight, but wanted nothing to do with Elena. The best part? Daisy kept accidentally making things worse for Elena by casually dropping details she didn't realize were secrets. And when Elena tried telling people I was controlling and jealous, Daisy would turn around and mention how I'd been paying for Elena's coffee and gas money while she was seeing some other guy. Makes it pretty hard to play the villain, right? The social media meltdown was the cherry on top. Elena posted one of those vague relationship posts about how some men can't handle strong, independent women, and how she was better off without someone who didn't trust her. The comment section was brutal. People who actually knew what had happened started posting the real story. Someone mentioned the empty apartment in the spreadsheet. Someone else casually dropped that she'd been living off her ex's money while cheating on him. And then there was Daisy. Because reading a room is apparently a skill she doesn't possess, she commented, I thought he left because you were cheating. That's what you told Amelia. Within 6 hours, she deleted the post. But, of course, screenshots had already made the rounds. Reputation in the design program tanked overnight. Apparently, when you're known for lying to your fiancé, people assume you might lie to classmates, too. Meanwhile, Roman, the marketing guy, vanished around the same time. Grayson found out through Amelia that he blocked Elena everywhere once he realized he'd been dating someone engaged and living with another man. Apparently, she had convinced him I was just a roommate. Classic. So in the span of 1 week, Elena had lost her fiancé, her apartment, her financial support, her friend group, her reputation, and her boyfriend. She was back at her parents' house, broke and facing a delayed graduation because her portfolio work had suffered while she was managing 2 relationships. Me? I was over here setting up my new home office, plotting which room will become a gym, and generally enjoying the calm that comes from not having to tiptoe around a chronic liar. The whole situation would have been almost sad if it weren't so completely self-inflicted. 2 weeks later, Grayson called with an update. Guess what your ex is up to now? Apparently, Elena had started sliding into DMs of guys from her design program, telling them her ex-fiancé was financially abusive and she needed someone to help her get back on her feet. The desperation was real. Things didn't end up here. There was one final act, and it was hilarious. So there I was, minding my own business at 11:30 p.m. when Grayson calls me, sounding way too amused for a Wednesday night. Bro, you got yourself a midnight visitor. What now? I asked, already guessing it was Elena, because who else wakes up a logistics manager at this hour? Check your window. Your ex-fiancé just leveled up to full-blown stalker mode. I peeked through the blinds, and of course, there she is, Elena, sitting in her little Honda Civic like some discount PI. Phone pressed against her window, snapping pictures of my house. She'd been out there for like 40 minutes. How'd she even find my address? I muttered, property records, genius. Takes 2 seconds on Google. Grayson replied like this was amateur hour. I'm about to go have a little chat with our aspiring photographer. Grayson, just leave it. I said, click. He'd already hung up. Next thing I know, he's parked right behind her car, boxing her in. Classic move. Then he strolls up to her window like he's approaching a drive-thru, all casual confidence. He taps on her glass. Elena literally jumps so hard, she probably got whiplash. She rolls the window down halfway, and even from across the street, I can hear her voice getting shrill. Grayson, what the hell are you doing here? Oh, just neighborhood watch duty, making sure we don't have any weirdos lurking around taking creepy photos at midnight. I'm not lurking. This is public property. He pulls out his phone and starts recording, right? So just to be clear, you're sitting outside your ex-fiancé's house at nearly midnight, taking pictures of his windows. That's your official statement. Stop recording me. She screeches, full-on drama mode now. Nah, I think I'll keep this rolling for legal purposes. You understand? In case we need to explain to the cops why you're out here acting like a discount secret agent. You can't record me without my consent. Watch me. He zooms in on her license plate, just documenting the vehicle used in tonight's stalking expedition. That's when Elena completely lost it. Stalking? I'm just trying to see what kind of life he's living while I'm stuck back at my parents' house. So this is your solution? Sitting outside at midnight? I asked, because clearly logic had left the building. He turned everyone against me. You used to be my friend. Nah, Elena. I was friendly because you were with my boy. But friends don't lie to friends for months while planning weddings they have no intention of honoring. Friends don't. Shut up. Just shut the hell up. She shrieked, a little defensive there. She tried to slam the car into drive, but Grayson was still standing right there. Move your freaking car, Grayson. Sure, weirdo, he said, holding up his phone. Smile for the camera. Elena. This is going straight to the group chat. That did it. She gunned the engine and swerved around his car, but instead of driving away, she whipped around the block and came back at him full speed. I watched this absolute lunatic actually try to run down my best friend with her car. Grayson dove behind his car just as she clipped his side mirror, sending plastic flying across the street. She kept going, tires screaming, and disappeared around the corner. My phone was already dialing 911 when Grayson called. Dude, this psycho tried to kill me. Are you okay? Yeah. She drives like she cheats. Lots of swerving, but no real commitment. But we definitely got her on attempted assault with a deadly weapon. Please tell me you're still recording, brother. I got the whole damn show. 20 minutes later, 2 cops showed up at my door. Grayson had given the cops the full story and all the video evidence. They found Elena at her parents' house across town. Apparently, she'd called her mom crying about how unfair everything was and how Grayson had attacked her. Her mom took one look at the video evidence the officers had and basically handed her over. Ma'am, one officer said, your daughter tried to run someone down with her car because he told her to stop stalking her ex-boyfriend at midnight while she was taking pictures of his house. The charges? Aggravated assault with a vehicle, stalking, and reckless endangerment. Grayson clipped a short snippet for the group chat. Elena screeching about consent while stalking me, then flooring it at his car. Within an hour, everyone we knew had seen it. You know what's beautiful? Grayson texted me later. What? I asked. She did more damage to her own reputation in 5 minutes than we could have done in 5 years. The restraining order went through without a fight one night, and she'd gone from cheating ex to attempted murderer. The judge even hammered her with probation, mandatory anger management, and a stack of community service hours as part of a reduced sentence. So, while I was out enjoying my freedom. She was out there in a neon vest picking up trash on the side of the highway, all because she couldn't handle rejection. The final kicker came a month later. I'm at Home Depot, buying stuff for my new workshop when I run into guess who? Roman, the marketing guy who had messaged me. "Man, I had no idea," he said. "She told me you guys broke up months ago, and you were just some controlling ex who wouldn't move out. I would never have gotten involved if I'd known." I just shrugged. "No worries. You did me a favor anyways." He nodded, then leaned in a little like he was about to share a trade secret. "Well, for what it's worth, I broke up with her when I found out she was engaged with you the whole time. When I asked her to leave my place, she tried to attack me." I raised an eyebrow. "Sounds about right. She treats breakups like WWE storylines. Gotta end with a chair shot." He laughed nervously, like he wasn't sure if I was joking. I wasn't. He apologized again, looking genuinely relieved. And that was that. I finally walked away. Life has a funny way of cleaning itself up once you take out the trash. A couple of months after all the chaos, I decided my house felt too quiet. So I went down to a local dog shelter, and that's where I met him, Max, a big, goofy German shepherd with ears too big for his head and eyes that just said, "I've got your back, man." I signed the adoption papers on the spot. Best decision I've ever made. Even better, that's where I also met her, Sophie. She was volunteering at the shelter day I walked in, helping me wrangle Max like it was second nature. Turns out she's an animal vet, runs a farm just outside of town, and get this, has 5 German shepherds of her own, a whole pack. My first date was basically me getting mobbed by furry linebackers on her front porch. I think that was their version of an approval process. I passed, somehow. Now, weekends mean heading out to her farm, letting Max run with the others until he's too tired to stand. Sophie and I sit on the porch, dogs at our feet, watching the sun drop behind the fields. She laughs easily, listens without judgment, and best of all, her idea of drama is a cow breaking through the fence. For the first time in a long time, I'm not looking over my shoulder. I'm just looking forward. And I've got to say, it feels pretty damn good. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.